This is the LZR Project, an episodic story series by David and Alderman. The LZR Project takes place within David's Expired Reality universe and serves as a prequel to the main novels in his Expired Reality series. You can find out more about David's Expired Reality series at davidandalderman.com. Episode number 23. Ridley Grant slammed the phone down and looked across the conference room table at Roger. "The situation has been contained," she said. "The bomb defusal squad is there, and a good portion of Lysallis' police force has created a zone around the building to keep people out of there. I also have a small group of my best out searching for the one responsible for this." Roger leaned his massive weight into the conference room chair. "How dangerous are the explosives?" Ridley ran her hands through her long black hair. "Bad. My demolitions expert says there's enough to level the city. And the bomb? It's sophisticated. Highly sophisticated. It's going to take a while to defuse it, if they can. David and Veronica are going to stay with the team there and do their best to evacuate the hotel." Roger sighed. "Is this explosive the weapon they were on assignment to obtain?" "I believe so." "Why wouldn't they take the money for the weapon?" Roger asked. "They could have released it anywhere, at any time, and instead they wait for a pair of buyers to show up at their doorstep to activate it?" "I don't have all of the answers, Roger. I'm just giving you my report to keep you on the same page." Roger stared at Ridley for a moment. Before she could inquire why, he slid an open folder across the table to her. "Take a good look at this." Ridley examined a large photograph of Victor Scran. The man's bald head, covered in scars and charred skin, took up half the photograph, while his wide smile with missing and blackened teeth took up most of the other half. Roger shifted his weight so he was sitting up at the table instead of leaning back in his chair. He folded his hands in front of him and tilted his head toward the photograph. "Victor Scran, the Corolex gang's most illustrious juggernaut, escaped your custody while you were transporting him to the courthouse a few days ago." Ridley shut the folder. "We were ambushed. It's all in my report." "I read your report." "Then why are we discussing this?" she asked. "We were ambushed. I fought off who I could, but they took Victor and got away. I've been prodding my contacts to see if I can find him, but I've had no luck. I've been a little busy here, with the city leveling bomb." Roger sighed. "Why do you always get so defensive?" "Defensive? You're about to blame me for something. I can feel it in my bones. Why else would you be throwing this in my face? You already know I've been working trying to find Victor." He nodded. "Yes, you have. But your resources apparently aren't as great as mine. One of my field operatives spotted Victor fleeing a gun shop yesterday, in the middle of Lysallis. He got away in an armored vehicle he stole from the Scale Armor Group." "Okay, where did he go from there?" she asked. Roger shrugged. "Nobody knows. Traffic cams only trailed him so far, and then he, his guns, and his new truck vanished from radar." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're the one on whom I'm going to pin the blame for this," Roger said. "Are you kidding me? I had nothing to do with him robbing a weapon shop or stealing an armored truck. But if you hadn't let him escape on the way to the courthouse, he wouldn't have been able to steal the truck or the guns. Now we have a heavily armed gang member out there doing who knows what with those weapons." Roger's face flushed as it always did when he became upset. RPGs were in that bunch, so were rifles, pistols, even some grenades. He filled the whole damn truck with that stuff. He's probably laughing with his gang right now as they load up and get ready to attack some convenience store, or worse, a school. Please don't talk about anyone shooting up a school, Roger. Get your ass out there and find Victor before something very bad happens, because if something very bad happens, it's your job. Ridley slid the open folder and the photograph back to Roger. "Don't you dare threaten me," she whispered. "I've seen things you will never see in your life because you sit behind a desk all day eating potato chips and guzzling down Sin soda. You think I care what you think of what happened to me the other day? I don't. I was ambushed. There was nothing I could do about that with the small security force you sent with me to the courthouse. I warned you ahead of time that you weren't giving me enough people. David warned you because he's smarter than you by twice as much." Roger's face turned from red to purple, but she continued. "If you think for a second that you can sit here and try and pin gang members' actions on my badge, you have another thing coming. I went undercover to bring that gang down, and I did just that. I have no control over their survivors." Roger seethed. "You think you can talk to me like that?" he shouted, scooting his chair out from under him as he stood to his feet. the massive weight of his body nearly toppling him to the side. "I am your superior here, Ridley Grant. I don't care what kind of provisional command the president of Anera gave you." He pointed his finger at her. "You're suspended until further notice." Ridley took a deep breath and calmly folded her hands together. "You can't suspend me, Roger. You don't have the authority to do that. President Anderson put me in a different bracket than you. I don't technically work for you. And right now, I'm still in charge of the assignment David and Veronica are on. Until that's finished, I am still in command." "Damn it," Roger shouted, knocking over his chair. Carrie Green appeared in the doorway of the conference room. "You guys have to see this." Carrie led Ridley and the slow-moving Roger into one of the other conference rooms, usually used for showing training videos. The big screen monitor on the far wall showed a local news video of a young girl in a pool of blood in the middle of the street. Ridley recognized the street as one in downtown Lysallis. "What is going on?" Roger asked. Carrie grabbed the remote and turned the volume up. "Again, I am Janet Doyle for Action 12 News, reporting in downtown Lysallis, where a random shooting has just taken place. 3 teenagers with rifles fired on this little girl while she was crossing the street with her mother. The young girl is dead, and the mother is in critical condition in a Lysallis hospital right now. Witnesses report seeing the 3 teenagers fire on the little girl and then take off down a nearby alley, where they were never seen again. Many believe these teenagers are somehow connected to the gun shop robbery from a few days ago, although right now that is only speculation. The young girl's name was Shira Strider." Ridley took a seat in one of the office chairs. Carrie turned off the television and sat down. "We need to find those teenagers," she said. "We're fully aware of what we need to do, Carrie," Roger snapped. He pointed at Ridley. "Get your ass out there and find those kids." "I'll go with you," Carrie grumbled. Ridley nodded. "No, you have to act as point of contact here, Carrie. Get with Sean, and the 2 of you can keep eyes and ears on David, Veronica, and Ridley." Ridley didn't argue with the man, even though she disagreed with how he was treating Carrie. Ridley wanted to find out what was going on with this gang and formulate her own plan for taking them down. Carrie would just get in the way. Carrie frowned and then stormed up from her seat and left the conference room. "The problem with teenagers is their unpredictable emotions," Roger commented. "Damn kids playing hero. What a joke." Ridley stood to her feet. "You would do good to watch your attitude, Roger. Nobody really likes you, especially me. How about you go into the field yourself and help everyone out? You could easily have run point of contact from here and let Sean and Carrie help David or even myself." He looked straight at her, the redness in his face disappearing. "Don't you have some kids to find?" Ridley left the conference room and went straight to the armory, where she suited up in a bulletproof vest. She double-checked the magazine in her pistol. She had no doubt the 3 teenagers were going to stick together, and she had no doubt she could find them easily if she questioned a few people and checked the alley they were last seen in. She had a suspicion they might have escaped into the sewers to hide amidst the homeless, but she didn't want to go down there unless she had more proof. Ridley took an LZR SUV to the crime scene. When she pulled up, she was shocked to find only 2 police officers. Then she remembered that a good portion of the city's police force was at the hotel where the bomb was being defused. The lack of police presence enabled Ridley to duck into the alley without anyone questioning her reasons for being there. She glanced around the area and found a large dumpster that had a white diamond sprayed on the side of it, the symbol of the Corolex gang. She slid the trash container to the side and unveiled a metal trapdoor she was sure led to the tunnels the Corolex gang had once used while she was undercover with them. Ridley wondered if she should risk heading into the sewers. The homeless lived down there, but so did many of Lysallis' murderers and child molesters. The underground housed a complex community of criminals that weren't keen on having a lone female officer wander through their little town. A sweep was made in the underground by an advanced tactical unit every few months, which usually turned up a handful of criminals, but to go down there alone was suicide. Something hard collided with her temple and knocked her against the brick wall of the alley. "Traitor," a young man's voice called out. Ridley put her hand to the side of her head. Blood oozed out onto her fingers and down her face as she looked up at her attacker. "Rico." A young man with a missing left eye laughed. "Knew you'd come back." "I watched you die in Corolex," she said. "I shot you in the face myself." He pointed to his missing eye. "You did, but I'm still alive. Bullet took out my eye, though. Nasty pain. Not as painful as what that little girl went through, though. That was brutal. Brutal, but I have to say fun." "Why did you do it?" she asked, her head throbbing. "She was just a little girl." Rico held the steel pipe he had hit Ridley with in one hand, and he had his other hand balled up into a fist. "Attention." The shooting? It was for me? Ridley asked. No, he answered. No, not for you. Not particularly, anyway. Ridley leaned her back against a brick wall, fighting off the pain in her head. The wound wouldn't stop bleeding, and she had nothing within arm's reach to apply pressure. Rico pointed to his own head. You might want to get that looked at. Then he went to swing, and all Ridley could think to do was to put her arms up in defense. He didn't hit her. He simply laughed, and then he grabbed her by the collar and threw her toward the mouth of the alley. Go back and tell your friends. Ridley stumbled upright and then quickly drew her pistol, pointing it at Rico. This time, she said, her head swimming with pain, this time I'm going to make sure to kill all of you. I won't leave one single man or woman standing in that hornet's nest you call a gang down there in the underground. Rico tapped the pipe against the ground. We aren't afraid of you, Ridley. You should fear us. You befriended us. You destroyed us. But now we are rising. Today, tomorrow, like a phoenix into the sky, higher than high. You won't win this time. We will. We'll win, and we'll take this city and everyone and everything in it. You can't do anything about it. Just go back, tell your friends, and watch what comes next. I think you'll like it. You especially. Just think what could have been had you destroyed all of us and not let me or Sing Se escape when you destroyed our group from the inside out. You could have prevented everything that is about to happen. But you didn't. Old ghosts, Ridley. Old ghosts coming back to get you. Ridley leaned up against the wall again, her vision blurring. She tried to aim her gun at Rico, but she couldn't see straight, and she didn't want to fire stray shots and pull in the curiosity of civilians. Rico pointed at her with the steel pipe. Go to a doctor. You're going to need stitches for that one. You'll be the first one I kill, Rico. I'll knock out your teeth with that pipe, and then I'll slit your jugular until your blood spills into the middle of this city. He grinned. Soon enough, there will be plenty of blood in this city. Are you ready? Thank you for listening to the LZR Project. If you are interested in reading more of David's Expired Reality series, please check out the author's webpage at davidnalderman.com.